Tonight, on Closer Look, he's been Prime Minister of Canada since 2015, having won 3 general elections. Earlier this morning, Justin Trudeau announced that he will resign as Liberal Party leader and Prime Minister once a successor is found. I'm joined tonight by one of Village Media's political journalists, Catherine de Klerk, who is the editor of Parliament Today. Catherine joins us this evening from Toronto. Catherine, I know it's been a massive day in the nation's capital, and certainly no secret that the pressure has been mounting for months for the Prime Minister to step aside. Why did he finally concede today?
I think it's just writing on the wall. We've seen calls for Justin Trudeau to resign as leader for months. We've lost Liberal strongholds in by-elections. There's infighting in caucus. And of course, Chrystia Freeland's resignation as finance minister on the morning of the fall economic statement. This has all hit the party really hard. The PM said that he would take time over the holidays to reflect on his future, but ultimately, that future involved a vote of non-confidence that the Conservatives said they would put forward. The NDP and the Bloc said they would support it, and a number of provincial caucuses had already withdrawn their support ahead of a national meeting this week. So at the end of the day, he didn't have a lot of choice in the matter, and by removing himself from the equation, he hopes that he's giving the Liberals a chance to find a leader that could be more popular among voters ahead of another election.
Catherine, can you help us understand what happens next? How will the next Liberal leader be chosen, and how quickly will that happen?
So the Prime Minister said that he hopes there'll be a robust and competitive race for the next Liberal leader. I imagine it will also be a speedy process. You want a leader already established before the next election, give them a chance to introduce themselves to the nation, establish their platform. I don't see a scenario in which that leader isn't set in stone by March 24th. But in terms of a timeline, we don't know yet. The party will likely set out those rules in the next coming weeks.
So we know that Parliament has now been prorogued until March 24th. Catherine, can you explain exactly what that means and what's involved when that happens?
Yeah, so the Prime Minister has this ability to request the Governor-General prorogue Parliament, which is a fancy word for ending the current parliamentary session. So during this time, any government business that was in the works is basically canceled. Any bills that haven't been given royal assent, they have to be reintroduced in the next session, and all committees cease to exist. It's basically an extended break. Cabinet is still in place, the government still exists, something that Trudeau made sure to mention because the prorogued session overlaps with the beginning of U.S. President Donald Trump's presidency, but ultimately no legislative business can go forward until the end of March.
It's now been about 8 hours since the resignation was announced. I know it's been a busy day for you. What has the reaction to Trudeau's resignation been generally? What are you hearing?
Reaction has been mostly positive among Liberals. This is something that they've been calling for. A lot of MPs, former government officials, they've come out publicly and thanked Justin Trudeau for his service, everything that he's done since he was first elected in 2015. Generally, there's this sense that this was the right and frankly only decision. There also appears to be some optimism from some Liberal members. These are also people whose names may be on the list of candidates for the next leader of the Liberal Party, but they're looking ahead and they think that things are going to go well and they're excited about the future of the Liberal Party. At the same time, there is some frustration. There's a lot of uncertainty when there's a leadership race, especially with a prorogued parliament, U.S.-Canada relationships being what they were. I think already Donald Trump has tweeted something about Justin Trudeau's resignation, basically using it as an opportunity to bring up this idea of Canada as the 51st state yet again. And of course, opposition parties aren't thrilled. They were hoping to topple the government themselves at the end of this month, and now they can't do that.
All right, now the next federal election is scheduled for October, but is likely to happen a lot sooner. When the House returns in March, what will have to happen in order for an election to be called?
Not much, honestly. Basically, the throne speech, which opens the parliamentary session, introduces the government's platform and direction, it's a vote of confidence. So, unless the Liberals can get the NDP, the Bloc, the Conservatives on their side, that throne speech won't pass, and that will trigger an election. If it's not the throne speech, there's budgetary documents to come. I don't expect it'll take long for there to be an election after we get back on March 24th.
All right, Parliament Today editor Catherine de Klerk on the resignation of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on tonight's Closer Look.